synthetic. That's all.
Correct.
I have a different question. Oh, sorry.
So Anjaneya is the son of whom? That is the next question.
Anjana.
Anjana.
Anjali.
Anjali Putra. Is
Anjani.
okay.
And Kritika's. Kritika.
Kritikayaha apatyam puman Kartikeya. All this is a very beautiful language defines this. It says there is a suffix you have to add. The name of the suffix is called dak. Literally it's called dak pratyaya. And then it says the dak will be replaced by another pratyaya called eya. Eya. Suffix becomes eya. And then the first vowel, what is the first vowel in this, in the Kritika? What is the first? No. What is the first vowel in Kritika? Kritika. What is the first vowel? Like Rishi Rikara.
Rikaranta.
Is Ru a vowel or a consonant?
Vowel.
It's a vowel. Our Sanskrit students are all here. I think both. They must know. So yeah, R, Kritika. So R is a vowel. And so the rule says the first vowel has to undergo something called vriddhi. It's a technical term, vriddhi. And that vriddhi will make the R to become R.
So it's guna vriddhi.
R. Yeah, guna and vriddhi. So vriddhi.
Yeah.
So R becomes R. Therefore, Kar. Kru becomes Kar. Kartikeya. This is the derivation of Kartikeya from Kritika. Same definition, Ganga. Ganga becomes Eya at the end. Eya. The first vowel is what in Ganga? Akara. Correct. Ganga, G-A. That A is the first vowel. And that has to undergo vriddhi. The vriddhi of A is A. Dirgha. Therefore, Gangeya. That's it, over. So therefore, some of the beauties of Sanskrit that I thought I'll introduce to you.
Becomes
Good.
O for Kunti. Ku becomes O, so Kaunteya. No.
Repeat, yeah. So Kunti, the vriddhi of Ukara, U, is Au. Au. And therefore it becomes Kaunteya. Everything else remains the same and you add Eya at the end. Kaunteya. Good. So a good point, Vishnu. Anjaneya and Kartikeya. Correct?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, go ahead, Vishnu, your question.
Actually, in the previous classes, we discussed about the difference between Satyam and Ritam. Now, I understood Ritam to be a subset of Satyam, if I recall correctly. And today we discussed Vritti, the pen Vritti, the ball Vritti, or whatever, the image of. So, is there a relation between Vritti and Ritam? Was my doubt. Meaning, when Ritam is an image of Satyam, is my. So, is Ritam the Vritti of Satyam? Was my mistake.
Good question. Good question. So, the question is this. So, I will mute all of you. There is some noise coming. Unmuted Vishnu. See, the question is this. We talked about Ritam and Satyam some time ago. I will review that quickly. And then the question is, has Ritam got to do anything with Vritti that we talked about today? What is the relationship? There is no relationship at all. Vritti means, okay, let's review Satyam and Ritam. Just a reminder. So, Satyam, generally we say truth. Speak the truth. Satyam eva jayate. Satyam vada. Like that the Veda says. So, yeah, speak the truth. That we understand very well. But sometimes in some mantras, this Satyam and Ritam, Satyam is further categorized. I think you all remember. Vishnu, do you remember the difference between Satyam and Ritam?
Yeah. Yes.
Good. So, can you repeat what that is?
After you explained that day, I looked up on one example also. For example, if an elephant is a Satyam, the perceiver of an elephant maybe is standing near a leg, so only one leg if he sees, so that becomes the Ritam. But that becomes truth to him in his limited perspective. But that is one of the things. So Ritam is also a form of Satyam, but it's just a subset was the conclusion that I drew on that.
Okay, good example. Good example. So, yeah. So, what I think to be right, what I think to be right,
Yeah.
versus what is actually right. Correct?
Yeah.
I
Correct.
honestly believe something is true. Like this person who says the elephant is like a pillar.
Yeah.
Elephant is a pillar, he says. The fellow is blind. And yeah, he believes the elephant is a pillar. But elephant is not a pillar. So one is Ritam, one is Satyam. The way I understood it, Vishnu, this pillar is Satyam, elephant is Ritam. Okay. What you said, I think is different, correct? Okay. So check that and let me know. I'd like to know. Because my idea was this Satyam is, I say that this elephant is pillar. That is Satyam. Because that is what I think. But Ritam is even more stricter, even stricter than Satyam. Ritam says, hey, you must first make sure you know what is right. Then only you must conclude, and that conclusion will be Ritam. Okay. That is just a difference of Ritam and Satyam. So question is, does this have anything to do with Vritti? Both are Vrittis. Satya Vritti and Rita Vritti. Both are Vrittis. Because both are thoughts. When I say elephant is pillar, that is a thought. When I say elephant is an animal who is this big and that big, who can pull logs and lots of wood, it can knock down trees and all that, that is also a vritti. Both communicate something. So both are vrittis. Vritti is a word which literally means thought modification. Modification of your thought. That's all a vritti is. Okay.
That's clear.
Good. Yeah, Hem, go ahead.
Yeah. So I had a question about what we discussed last time. So when we defined Karana Shariram, we said that it is the part of me which says I am ignorant or I have done Papa and Punya. But isn't that a thought? How is that ignorance? Like it's a thought, right? So it's similarly when we define Anandamaya Kosha also we said it's the experience of ignorance. So yeah, so that's where my confusion is.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. So the question is Karana Shariram. So Karana Shariram we have not covered yet. Just we introduced because the student is going to ask what Karana Shariram is, correct? Later on it's going to come. So briefly we will say that when I say I am ignorant, we are actually making a point there that this ignorance is anadi. Okay. Ignorance is anadi. Means ignorance has no beginning. And therefore there is something that is coming even before I was born, so to speak, before I took this birth. That is why we say, that is what generally we refer to as Karana Shariram. It's a part of me that is a continuation of my past. Let's put it that way. Okay. So we will understand this better later. But so, yeah, ignorance is a thought, correct? Yeah, I am subject to punya and papa. Yeah, it is a thought, no doubt. Yes. So it is a vritti, no doubt. But there is a reality about that which we have to analyze. And so we have to talk about what is the cause of samsara, right? Why do I consider myself to be bound? I am bound right now. What is the cause of that? If you say, then Advaita Vedanta will point out to ignorance. Correct? Point to ignorance. Ignorance of my true nature. That ignorance, Moola Vidya. So that is there. So that is, we need to keep that aside as a separate topic. And therefore, generally we say Karna Sarira. And we will cover it when that topic comes also. And your second question was, yeah, remind me again.
Anandamaya Kosha.
Anandamaya Kosha. Yeah, Anandamaya Kosha. Yeah, I think there also, I think we said ignorance, correct?
Yeah.
Ignorance. Yeah, so very interesting. Ananda means happiness. Where is the connection between happiness and ignorance?
Yeah.
Okay? You're not even translating the word properly. That is how it appears. Yeah. So experiential happiness. So now we are getting into, we have an idea of happiness, which is experiential, comes and goes. Comes and goes. That is what is experiential happiness. But when we say Atma is Ananda, when we say Atma is Satchidananda, then we have to bring in the nature of Atma, which is Purnananda, which is Anantam, which is limitless, and that cannot be experiential Ananda. That cannot be experiential. Experience itself means what comes and goes, correct?
Yeah.
Suppose you say, I had breakfast and the dosa was very tasty. You had the experience of taste, good taste. You had the experience of dosa, tasty dosa you had. That's an experience. What is an experience? There was a time when you did not taste anything. Suddenly you put something in your mouth and you tasted something. And that is an experience. Describe an experience. You must begin. There must be a beginning and there must be an end.
Yeah.
Correct? For you to talk about that experience. For you to talk about an experience, that experience is finite.
Yeah.
It has to begin and it has to end. And so the Ananda of Satchidananda is different. It can't come in that category. So we will look at this further. We'll look at this Anandamaya Kosha also. We will look at it further and see if we can appreciate more. Okay. So experiential Ananda versus one's own nature, which is Ananda. Okay. So Mohini is there.
Can I ask a question, Jayakumar?
Yeah, go ahead, Haraprasad. Mohini, hang on for a second.
Okay. Well, when Bhrigu asked the questions to Varuna in this Anandamaya Kosha, when he goes through the first four, he understands. But the fifth one, Bhrigu does not go back to Varuna because the fifth one, he considers it as the Ananda itself. It is not experiential Ananda. It is the Ananda itself.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. So Anando Brahme Divyajanat Anandadhyeva Khal Vimani Bhutani Jayante Anandena Jatani Jivanti Anandam prayantyabhisamvishanti Taisha bhargavi varuni vidya parame vyoman pratishtita yayevam veda pratitishthati. Yeah. So there, of course, see, then the teaching continues further. So I'm not sure we can say that Bhrigu does not go back to Varuna, even though in that text there is no going back. It appears like that.
Correct.
But the teaching continues from there, and so there is the unfoldment of the Mahavakya continues from there also. So I'm not sure if we can use that against Anandamaya, etc. So yeah, see, you have to understand, Hariprasad, one thing. This Maya, the word Maya, when it is used, Maya itself can imply Prachurye. Maya to be Maya Prachurye. So it means a preponderance of something. It need not mean. It only highlights to you something that is not. It highlights to you something, and then we say, no, that cannot be me. Like that we can say. Okay. So Maya, Annamaya, if we say, it is a modification of the Anna. This body is a modification of food. In fact, that is the sense in which this Maya is used. Modification. So all these Mayats are all modifications. Things that are transformed to become what you see. You say body, yeah, body is Annamaya. It's a modification, therefore it cannot be limitless, it is finite, etc., etc. So Anandamaya also comes in the same category, really speaking.
Okay.
We can't say Atma is Anandamaya. No, we can't say that. Okay, so we will stop there. What about Mohini? Go ahead.
I thought Mula Avidya is Maya. Avidya that I have is that I think I am Anatma. Is the Avidya that I have. But Mula Avidya is Maya, is what I thought you were mentioning about Mula Avidya. Am I wrong when I have that concept?
Yeah, so we say that I am unaware of my avidya, my ignorance, because of Maya. Because of Maya. So if you ask the question, why don't I know? Why am I ignorant of myself? Then we are forced to introduce Maya and say, because of Maya, I am ignorant. And I continue to remain ignorant. And sometimes they use the word Maya for avidya. Maya for avidya. But Maya need not be used in that context also. And then when the avidya is inquired into, then Maya continues to be there. But what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter, he says, hey, Maya is always there, Maya Devi, but I am not under her spell. Correct? So he says, I forget the exact verse now. I am not under her spell. Not under the spell. So therefore, for Krishna, there is no ignorance. Okay. So Maya is used in at least 2 or 3 contexts. Okay. So Mula Avidya, we say to refer to this Anadi Avidya, which means just that. And then Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti is there because we have to invoke this Maya Shakti to explain this samsara and why I am under the spell, etc. Those things, those discussions come about. Okay. So we will discuss this further. So we're still exploring the basics.
Okay.
So does that answer the question somewhat?
Yeah, but you're saying that we use that to explain the anatma that I think is the truth. Is Maya is the cause? Is that what you were trying to say?
Maya can be considered as a cause also. Correct. Yes. Okay, we'll have one last question by him, and yeah. So Venkateshanji, you were going to say something?
In Tamil, they say this manasachi, that is consciousness. When we decide something, there is a manasachi. I think you would have heard in old Tamil movies, the hero and his manasachi will come out and speak to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Which kosa it belongs, that manasachi?
Yeah, so I have muted you, Venkateshanji. Quickly, I'll answer that question. That manasakshi is basically our own mind, really speaking. It is it can't be confused too much. It is just our, when we are debating something, we are doing the pros and cons, right? Should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I go to the hospital now? Should I not go to the hospital? Okay, my daughter is not well. Should I give her crocin now, or should I take her to the hospital? Can be a question, right? You have to think. You're thinking, well, she's been having fever since yesterday morning. Now it is not gone yet. Yesterday night it was okay. Now in the morning it's not good. So you got to think. So then you say, no, I'll try to give her medicine. So back and forth going on. That they show in the movies, and that debate I remember. Then the other part is manasakshi, means the one who knows what is right and wrong. That is manasakshi. So if I lie, I am lying to you. I am lying to you. But wait a minute. Do I know that I am lying or not? Do I know that I am lying or not? That is the question. So yeah, I know I am lying. So that I know I am lying, we say, is manasakshi. So they will say manasakshi kollum. So manasakshi will kill you. So others may not kill you, but your manasakshi will kill you. Okay, him, go ahead.
Yeah. So today, when we discussed the mind, we said when we say I am not the mind, isn't that also a thought in the mind? And how do you distinguish the idea that I am not the mind from the background which is observing the mind?
Yeah. So is what also not a thought? Isn't that also a thought? You said. What is that?
Yeah. Yeah. When I say I am not the mind,
okay,
the thing which is saying this is also the mind, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And now, how do I distinguish between this and the background on which all of this happens?
Yeah. See, yeah. When we appreciate the fact that I am not the mind, yeah, of course, this is the mind that is talking, that is thinking. Everything is a vritti. Every statement we heard creates a vritti in us. Absolutely no doubt about that. Anything we say, the mind has to be involved. No doubt about that. Maya, Vidya, Mula, Vidya, all these words we use, anything we understand occurs in the mind only. Correct?
Yeah.
So the background, what happens means the background is always there. Consciousness is always there. It always entertains anything, any thought. The consciousness is unopposed to any thought. Unopposed. I can be ignorant of something. Consciousness is fine. It is not threatened by that, apparently. And I am enlightened. I am happy. I am knowledgeable, accomplished. That also consciousness sustains. Yeah. So it's no problem with consciousness. Yeah. So when we say when there is ignorance, the ignorance can be removed only by knowledge. And that knowledge has to take place in the mind. Where else the knowledge takes place? And the knowledge takes place in the mind and removes the ignorance forever. So akhandakara vritti and all happens. There is a discussion about that. And that's it. That vritti happens, and the fact is understood. A fact is understood in the mind only, correct? In the mind only. And that's about it. So like the fact is told that the sun doesn't revolve around the earth. What changes after that? Tell me. Does anything change in this world after that?
No.
Nothing changes except what?
Except my perspective.
Except what?
My perspective of it. The way I look at it.
Exactly. Except your vision is completely changed. Not an ordinary change. It's a huge change, correct? Go from A revolving around B to B revolving around A is a huge change.
Yeah.
What a change it is. And your idea of the world completely changes. Same thing here also. And yeah, go ahead.
No, I actually asked that question because so when I try to do this exercise that I am not the body, I am not the mind, at one point it stops, because when I say I am not the mind itself is interfering in, it comes in between in a sense. Like, it's not possible for me in the waking state to go beyond that. That's where.
Yeah, see. When we say I am not the mind, it's a mental modification. The mind has to be involved. Because you are trying to grasp something. You are trying to grasp something, some idea you want to grasp. If you want to grasp an idea, the mind has to be involved. How will you grasp otherwise? How will you grasp a thought without the mind? The mind will be involved. So whether I say I am using the mind, not using the mind, whether I say I am not the mind, all these things, mind is of course involved. So cognition takes place that I am not the mind. Then if you say, who am I? Okay, I understood I am not the mind. Then you say, who am I? Then that appreciation has to take place. Who am I? What is Atma? Etc. Yeah, so that's a further discussion. But yeah, the mind is always there. And we are not afraid of the mind. When we say, I am not the mind, we are not worried that the mind is active. We understand carefully. When we say, I am not the mind, we are not worried that the mind is active. Even when I say, I am not the mind. Correct? So yeah, the mind you say is interfering. Yeah, interference is a harsh word actually in this case, because we appreciate without the mind, how can communication happen? How can cognition happen? Cognition itself, it's a big blessing because of the mind. Mind enables me to cognize things. So anything you want to cognize, the mind has to be involved. Now if your question is, the mind should not be involved, if you say, then that is not possible. That's not possible. Because the mind is always there. Where every thought means mind is active. You are looking for a thought of something. You are looking for a thought of something. The something can be Atma also. Something can be Anatma. The something can be something other than the mind I am looking for.
Yeah.
Look for it, but the mind will be active. The mind is the one that has to reveal to you. The mind is the one that has to reveal to you whatever fact needs to be revealed. Correct? Therefore, we are not afraid that the mind is always there. Mind will always be there. We appreciate very clearly that I am not the mind. Again, we have to go back to the original statement we learnt, which is, I am not the mind, but the mind is I. So we should forget that. We have to be careful. That's why the teaching is not complete. Remember the wave. The water is not the wave. But what?
Yeah, the wave is water.
Wave is water. What about that aspect? We can't forget that. Otherwise, it will be like saying Jayakumar is not him. Him is not Jayakumar. Okay, that we all know. Big deal. You are sitting somewhere, nobody knows where you are sitting, nobody knows where I am sitting. We're all in different places. Yeah, but the water wave relationship is not like that. Correct? Yeah, so therefore, even though we say I am not the mind, at some point we appreciate the mind is I. Because I pervade the mind. That part we have not come to yet. In a way, we have covered it by looking, analyzing this word and understanding Satyam and Mithya, correct? Mind is Mithya, Atma is Satyam. So we will bring that up again in the forthcoming classes. Okay. Good question, same. Okay, so it is 8 to 7 here. So we can okay, there is a Prasad, go ahead and ask the question.
No, I was just thinking while you're describing, it's not the question. My understanding is that what Hem asked, based on that, I was thinking to distinguish that a person who is enlightened and person who is not enlightened. After enlightenment, what happens is it is still through the mind he has to understand, perceive, or whatever. But here there is a difference. I was thinking that the mind now is actually projection of that Sakshi. It is not anymore a knower. Earlier, when he is not liberated or enlightened, it is still a knower. A Sakshi is a knower in the mind because it is subjected to the body and other things.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. So, just like I say, I am tall, I am short, etc., and I am therefore mortal. See, I am tall, I am short is not a big problem. But the problem comes when I say I am sick and I am a mortal, I am about to die. That is where the problem arises. Okay. So yeah, correct. So extending that, the mind is there. And so I am sad when I say I don't want to be sad, but I am sad. Nobody wants to be sad. And so yeah, that is correct. And so that appreciation, that the mind also in a way is no different than the body. Correct? In a way it's no different than the body because it is part of the Jagat, part of that which is observed. And therefore what is observed, what is known cannot be me. Correct, Prasad, that's correct. So we'll continue again. Next class. Good questions. I'm glad everybody is following the thread.